Warm greetings from the High 10. It's Everyday Shenanigans, and thanks for joining me. This evening, I would like to talk about the death of Miss Naomi Irion. As most of you know, she was kidnapped a couple of weeks ago out in Nevada at a Walmart. Shortly after the disappearance, they got information of a suspect, Mr. Troy Driver, who was remanded to jail on a very high bond of $750,000 for the kidnapping at that time. He has now been formally charged with an open murder on Friday. I will bring you said information pertaining to who Mr. Driver is and how did it come to be that he crossed the path with this young lady. Did she know him? Had he seen her before? Had he been stalking her? We will discuss this openly this evening, and I will drop the link so you can give your public opinion pertaining to the information that has been brought forth pertaining to this young lady, her plight in life, the short life that she had, how she came to know Mr. Driver, who is Mr. Driver, his offenses, what he did for a living, and was he stalking Miss Irion? I have a lot of information to bring you, so please bear with the content. Thank you so much for joining me. This is Everyday Shenanigans. Thank you so much. First off, I want to start off by talking about missing people, because whenever I do commentary pertaining to certain topics, I like to bring stats and not just talk openly about a given situation, because stats help us get an understanding of what is being discussed. So we're going to start off with said information pertaining to which states have the most missing persons cases. WALB News 10 is the source. According to NamUs, over 600,000 people go missing each year in the United States, ranging from young children to older individuals. Famous missing person cases such as the Elizabeth Smart or Jane Kloss disappearances are well-known missing persons cases, but countless other cases never make it to the spotlight. National Missing Persons Day was observed on February 3rd. It was designed to give the nation an opportunity to focus more on finding those missing persons, and some states are even expanding those efforts. Arizona holds a Missing in Arizona Day each year where forensic experts and law enforcement take information, notes, and records about missing individuals in hopes of finding some of those people. But unfortunately, Georgia, by comparison, has very few missing persons cases. The chart below shows the number and rate of missing persons by state in America. I will read you the state. I will give you the total missing, and this will also be per 100,000 people in that state. Thank you for joining me. Alaska, 309 at a rate of 41.8% out of 100,000. So I won't tell you 100,000 every time I read the state. Just get a note that when I say percentage, that means out of 100,000. Arizona, missing 915 at a rate of 13%. Oregon, 432 missing at a percentage of 10.4. Vermont, 54 missing out of a rate of 8.7. Washington, 643 missing at a rate of 8.7. Maine, 108 missing at a rate of 8.1. Wyoming, 45 missing at a rate of 7.8. Hawaii, 107 missing at a rate of 7.5. Montana, 71 missing at a rate of 6.8%. New Mexico, missing 143 at a rate of 6.8. Arkansas, 200 at a rate of 6.7. West Virginia, 120 at a rate of 6.6. Nevada, 192 missing at a rate of 6.4. Oklahoma, 252 missing at a rate of 6.4. Delaware, 58 missing, 6 point percentage. Florida, 1,252, 6%. Idaho, 101, 5.9%. Louisiana, 266 missing at a rate of 5.7. Kentucky, 248 missing at a rate of 5.6. Michigan, 556 at a rate of 5.6. Connecticut, 197 missing at a rate of 5.5. California, one of the highest numbers in the United States, 2,133 people missing at a rate of 5.4. Tennessee, 361 at a rate of 5.4. Colorado, 292 missing at a rate of 5.2. Missouri, 316 at a rate of 5.2. DC, 35 at a rate of 5%. Texas, 1,246 at a rate of 4.4. Alabama, 204 missing at a rate of 4.2. North Dakota, 31 missing at a rate of 4.1. Mississippi, 115 missing, 3.9%. South Carolina, missing, 184 at 3.7. Utah, missing, 107 at a rate of 3.4. New Jersey, 299 missing at a rate of 3.3. Minnesota, 179 at a rate of 3.2. Nebraska, 61 missing at a rate of 3.2. North Carolina, 327 missing at a rate of 3.2. New York, 606 missing, 3.1%. Ohio, 358 at 3.1%. Pennsylvania, 401 at a rate of 3.1. Maryland, 183.3 at 3%, Kansas, 81, rate 2.8. Virginia, 239 at a rate 2.8. Iowa, 86 at a rate of 2.7. Indiana, 174, 2.6 rate. New Hampshire, 35 people missing, 2.6%, very low rate. South Dakota, even lower, only 23 people missing at a rate of 2.6. Wisconsin, 149 missing at a rate of 2.6. Their percentage is neck to neck. South Dakota and Wisconsin also sitting up under that rate, comes at the same rate at about 2.5 per 100,000 people. It's the state of Illinois at a rate of with 317 people missing at 2.5 per 100,000 people. Georgia, 250 people missing at a rate of 2.4. Rhode Island, only 20 people missing at a rate of 1.9. Massachusetts, 126, 1.8. Neck to neck would be California and the state of Florida with the most missing people in the United States. Our source for this story is Vinvin's source reports that a missing person is defined as anyone whose whereabouts is unknown, whatever the circumstances of disappearance. They can be considered a lost person, someone who has voluntarily gone missing, or someone who is someone who is missing against their will. In our research, we uncovered some compelling data about missing persons. Of the 15,207 people currently missing in the United States, approximately 60% are male and 40% are female. The average age of people where they go missing is at the age of 34. As of January 2019, there are 106 children currently missing who were younger than a year old when they went missing. WALB is the source. Who is Troy Driver? ConanDaily.com is the source for this said information. Troy Driver biography, 13 things about Fallon, Nevada man. Thank you for joining me. Troy Edward Driver is a white man from Fallon, Churchill County, Nevada. Aside from Fallon, he has lived in other parts of Nevada, including Elko, Spring Creek, and Silver Springs. Driver has lived in different parts of California, USA, including Ukiah and Willits. Growing up in California, he and his childhood friend are of the same age, but he treated her as his little sister, Troy and Moore are 2 years younger than his sister, Charla Renee Driver, and their friend, Carl Herbert Dulinsky. Moore was 1 year younger than her boyfriend, a drug dealer with guns. When Moore showed Troy bruises inflicted by Rodriguez while they were all teenagers, Troy asked her to move into his house so he could protect her, but she declined. Here are 13 more things about Troy Driver. He was 12 when he was sentenced in 1992 to community service for shooting a deer out of season. In 1994, he was sentenced to formal probation for residential break-ins with several firearms taken and the burglary of Quality Firearms store on Ore Springs Road in Ukiah. Now, mind you, if he was 12 in 92, that means he would have been 16 in 94. And if 94 at 16, he was on probation, formal probation for breaking into people's houses, taking several firearms from a store, Ore Springs Road. After being caught burglarizing, he was removed from his parents' house in Willits and lodged at the Shasta Youth Connection facility in Red Bluff, California. In 1995, he started smoking marijuana. On February 20th, 1997, he and Dolinsky stole several guns from the Coast to Coast hardware store in Willits with Robert Coyer as their lookout. In exchange for drugs, they sold the guns to Rodriguez in Moore's house. At 2:30 a.m. on April 4th, 1997, now mind you, this is just a few months later after they stole the guns from the Coast to Coast hardware store, where they eventually sold weapons to the Rodriguez guy in the girl's house. He and Dolinsky robbed the Circle K on East Perkins Street in Ukiah. They were armed with a semi-automatic pistol and a pistol-grip shotgun, and Charla served as their getaway driver. On April 14, 1997, he and Dolinsky used the same weapons to rob Chevron service stations located in Willits and Roanoke Park, Sonoma County, California, with Charla as their getaway driver. On April 20th, mind you now, just 6 days later, Moore drove Rodriguez Mercury Cougar to Ukiah with Dolinsky, Troy, and Charla. During the drive, he and Dolinsky allegedly agreed to help Moore kill Rodriguez. So these two people helped the young lady to kill Rodriguez, who she was alleging was beating her up. April 22nd, 1997, 2 days later, he and Dolinsky staged a vehicle breakdown near a house owned by his parents on Schaefer Ranch Road in Willits. After Moore fatally shot Rodriguez on that road, he and Dolinsky helped her dump Rodriguez's body in a wooded area off of Highway 128 near Navarro, Mendocino County. He, Dolinsky, Moore, and Rodriguez were all Willits residents at that time. On May 5th, 1997, he and Dolinsky were arrested. On May 7th, 1997, Rodriguez's remains were found buried in a shallow grave off of Highway 128 in California. On May 14, 1997, he and Dolinsky were charged for 3 separate armed robberies. He told Deputy Probation Officer Thomas J. Kropp that he committed the robberies to help Charlotte get a passport to Italy, where her serviceman husband lived. On August 31st, 1997, same year, he pleaded guilty to being an accessory to murder after the fact, second-degree burglary, and 3 counts of second-degree robbery. He was sentenced to 15 years in state prison. 2009, he was released from prison, Mr. Driver. From June 2012 to March 2018, he worked for Canyon Construction as a safety coordinator. From March 2018 to October 19, he worked for Ames Construction as a superintendent. In October 2019, he joined LedCorp as a project superintendent. Just before 5:30 a.m. on March 12, 2022, he allegedly abducted Miss Irion, 18, of Fernley, Lyon County, Nevada, at the parking lot of a Walmart. At around 9 p.m. on March 29, 2022, her remains were found in a gravesite in a remote area of Churchill County, Nevada. Just before 5 p.m. on March 25, 2022, the Lyon County Sheriff's Office arrested him at a home off of Alcorn Road in Fallon. His arraignment on March 30th, 2022 was overseen by Judge Lori Matthews, who ordered that if he were to post his $750,000 bail, he cannot be released until a global positioning system, which is GPS, monitored bracelet is set. And as it is stated, this is a developing story. More details will be added. This is by ConanDaily.com. So you see, that's a lot of information. Mr. Driver was a troubled youth, allegedly trying to aid Miss Moore because Rodriguez allegedly had beat her up, abused her. What is the truth to that story? I'd like to get more information to that, and I'd also like to know where these other suspects are. Where is Miss Moore? Is she still incarcerated or is she free? Where is the other man? Is he free? Where are these people now? Have they committed more crimes since their stint in penitentiary? Thank you for joining me. This is Everyday Shenanigans. If you'd like to donate to the channel, $McAndrew129 Cash App. All super chats are welcome during the live. Hello, everybody. Thank you much for joining me. I brought you stats pertaining to the states in America with the highest missing persons. California and Florida are neck to neck. I brought you information about Troy Driver, who he is as a person. He's been a busy bee. He has now been accused of murder after being arrested for kidnapping of Miss Irion. I'm sitting here looking at this picture of him at the ctpost.com, and I'm noticing something that I hadn't noticed. And I don't know if some of you have noticed this. If you feel like going to Google what I'm getting ready to reveal to you, feel free. Somebody has bitten off his ear. Stay woke. Oh, Lord have mercy, help me. His ear is missing at the top of Mr. Driver's earlobe is missing. Please go and verify the said photographs. Lord have mercy, I'm dead. Woo. A co-worker came forward to give information pertaining to this man possibly aiding the body, hiding the body. And I will bring you that in just a second. So many things to read. Let's start with CT Post first. Thank you. A rural Nevada man accused of kidnapping and killing an 18-year-old Fernley woman last month fatally shot Naomi Irion and buried her body in a remote high desert area, according to a new criminal complaint filed Tuesday. Let me give you the said information pertaining to the locations of what I'm speaking of before I get started. For those who are not familiar with the general area, Miss Naomi went missing in Fernley at a Walmart. Fernley is about an hour and 18 minutes from the rural area where she was found, deceased in a grave. Fernley is 31 minutes from the suspect's home in Fallon, Nevada. Fallon, Nevada sits 46 minutes from Churchill County, where the body was found. So this is just a little bit of information for those of you who are curious. 1 hour and 18 minutes or so from where she was abducted in Fernley to the rural area out in Churchill County. And Walmart sits 31 minutes from where the suspect lives in Fallon. And from Fallon, where the suspect lived, to Churchill, where he buried the body, that's 46 minutes. Thank you for joining me. This is Everyday Shenanigans. I will now resume my commentary. Once again, Miss Fernley was shot and buried in a remote high desert area. Lyon County District Attorney Stephen Rye filed the amended criminal complaint, adding first-degree murder and other crimes to the kidnapping charge already facing Troy Driver, 41, of Fallon. Driver is accused of kidnapping Irion from a Walmart parking lot in rural Fernley on March 12th and killing her on or before March 25th. That was about a 13-day span. That's the day Driver was arrested for kidnapping. 4 days later, investigators acting on a tip found her body in a grave just across the Churchill County line. In addition to burying Irion's body, the new complaint says Driver disposed of tires from his truck and destroyed or hid her cell phone in an effort to eliminate evidence that might help lead to his arrest. Since his arrest, Driver has been held on a $750,000 bail in the Lyon County Jail in Fernley, about 30 miles, 48 kilometers east of Reno, Nevada. And yes, Fernley sits near Reno, Nevada. He's now accused of first-degree murder with the use of a deadly weapon, first-degree kidnapping, robbery, burglary of a motor vehicle, and destroying evidence. According to the new complaint, Rye filed Tuesday in Lyon County's Canal Township Justice Court in Fernley. Driver's public defender, Mario Waller, didn't immediately respond to a request for comment on Tuesday. The complaint said Driver shot Irion in or near a rural portion of northern Churchill County, northeast of Fernley, where he took her for the purpose of committing sexual assault or purpose of killing her. It said he entered the 1992 Mercury Sable Irion was sitting in at the parking lot in Fernley with intent to commit grand petite larceny, assault, or battery, then drove it away with her inside against her will. Driver committed various crimes at various locations in northern Nevada's Lyon, Churchill, Humboldt, and or Eureka counties, the complaint said. It's appropriate to prosecute him in Lyon County because the felony crimes for which he concealed or destroyed evidence were committed in whole or in part in Lyon County, it said. Driver had been scheduled to appear in Justice Court in Fernley on Tuesday, which is today, for a pretrial status hearing on the kidnapping charge ahead of a preliminary hearing scheduled April 12th. But on Monday, a judge continued that hearing until May 10th, when a new date will be set for the preliminary hearing to determine if there's enough evidence to bound the case over for trial in Lyon County District Court in Yerington. CT Post is the said source for this information. Thank you all so much for joining me. Let's now get a little information from the person that told about Mr. Driver. YouTube is the source. Thank you for joining me. This is courtesy Ekamel's channel. Thank you so much. YouTube Q is...
What's up, it's Ekamel. Welcome back to the channel.
Hold on one second. Let him get to this information. Then I will play this for you. Hello, everybody in the chat. Thank you for joining me for live number 2. This is a very sad story, horrific story of an 18-year-old who was just starting to live her life and snuffed out by a Troy Driver, 41, Caucasian male. Why did he kill this girl? Did he know this young lady? Had he been stalking her, following her? It is believed he had been following this young lady, stalking her. And we will get into that in my commentary. Thank you for joining me. Hold on one second while I can get started. Get this guy started here talking. Hold on.
On LinkedIn that we could at least kind of somewhat confirm. So
hello, everybody. Thank you.
There, apparently.
They said because it wasn't working out. All right. But the real reason they said that was because FBI contacted me, wanted to talk to me about the missing case of Naomi. Irony. I think that's how you say it. Okay, so I believe Troy Driver buried some evidence out the mines. The reason why I say that was because he acted suspicious for those 3. So he was my mentor at LEDCOR for 3 weeks, from March 7th till March 25th, the day he got arrested at the office. Okay. Where did I start? So March 7th through 8, 9, 10, 11. Through the 11th, we were at the office for all week pretty much, getting ready. You know, I had to do my safety orientation and all that shit. The following week, which was, so that weekend was the weekend she got abducted, right, Naomi? She got abducted that weekend, okay? On Sunday, which was the 13th, Troy text messaged me and said he got subpoenaed to court for an underage minor, and I had to put no names on there, at 2:30 p.m. So he wasn't going to make it to work on Monday. We were scheduled to go out to mine so I could get my sights at every mine and do all my safety stuff, okay? So, he texted me he's going to be there at work. So on Tuesday, we show up to Rains in Eureka, Nevada. After saving with customized car insurance from
Oops, sorry. Got to get that money in and get that commercial in. Hold on one second.
We were supposed to be there at 9 a.m. I showed up around 8:30, texted him, hey, where you at? I'm already here. He says, I'm ready. Okay, so Troy texted me that he was going to be late to show up to Rains. He pulls up around 9:20 a.m. He was supposed to be there at 9. Mind you, Troy is never late to anything. He's always early when the time is set. So he was late, which was after the weekend she disappeared. Okay. He shows up, I get in his truck, we go in his truck to the GRP mine. I get my sights there. His sights, so we just drove around. It's around 6 p.m. when we left the McEwen mine, and he wanted to go to the Northumberland mine, which we wouldn't have been there until 9:30 p.m. at night. So we head there. When we get to the Northumberland mine, he hauls ass down the road.
So let's pause here for a second, and I wanted to give you guys an overview / visual of what he's talking about. So the mining areas he's talking about specifically in this video is to the right, but to the left, and just briefly, I'm not going to go through all the timeline and every single location, but Reno, Nevada, this is where the LEDCOR construction company, I guess, office building is at. This is also in the same area where Naomi worked at, the Panasonic Energy of North America. Fernley is where we see the whole surveillance situation take place, where the guy is clearly stalking her. The part we don't see is where he walks up to the vehicle. She gets to the passenger side. Her vehicle is later found at the emulsion plant. And her phone last pinged, according to police, at the state route 427 in Hill Ranch Road. And Fallon, well, Troy Driver is known to be from Fallon. And according to the news articles that I've read, they stated that he was arrested at a home. We don't know whose home. The guy that we're listening to in the video right now, he's stating that that's not true. He was arrested at the job, okay? So now, fast forward a bit to the mining area, and he's talking about these things happened after she went missing. They met at Rains. Rains is looks like a shopping center to me. Has like a grocery store, a hardware store, a couple things there. They later go down to this GRP mine where they're looking for sites or looking for his sites. And then from the GRP to the gold mine, which the gold mine is the same thing as the McEwen that he was talking about. It's the same thing, gold bar, McEwen mining. And so from the gold bar / McEwen, they go, or he says that Troy wanted to go to this Northumberland mine. And so this is where we left that in the story, just so you have like a visual of the locations. It is all driving distance.
Yada, yada, yada. So he hauls ass down the road. And we get there, and he has to get out to pee. Mind you, he never takes breaks. He doesn't do shit. So he gets out. I get out. I had to pee too. As I'm peeing, you don't hear nothing coming from him, so he's not peeing. So I wonder if Troy actually dumped some evidence out there at that mine, at the Northumberland mine. Okay, that's first suspicious. We leave that mine like around 11 p.m. and then start heading into town. We stop in Austin because that was the only store we had to get gas. He pumps gas. I grab a bag of chips and soda. I hop in my truck. He stays behind. So I don't know what he did when he stayed behind. He could have gone back and please hope to God he didn't kill her, but he could have disposed of her body out there somewhere. I don't know. I'm only here doing this video because I think Ledcore fucked up and they got rid of me for no fucking reason just because I told the FBI the reason, of where potential evidence could have been at. And it's going to sacrifice their job or their name. Well, Ledcore's a piece of shit. First of all, Ledcore didn't know that Troy was a fucking murderer. Okay? Ledcore did not know that he murdered somebody when he was 17 years old and he spent 15 years in prison.
Well, technically, according to the article, he cleaned up the body. It was a setup. I mean, he was involved in it, but it was the guy's girlfriend, the dealer's girlfriend, that set him up. But they were kind of all lying in wait, and then he, along with some other guy, went and disposed of a body. So I mean, and it seems like, do you really believe this was the only time he's done something like that? I don't know. Maybe he's done it more, or has experience, or seems comfortable at the very least.
Yeah. Okay. The second reason is, they had no reason to even get rid of me. So, what was that? Okay, so that day's over, right? That was Tuesday, March 16th. March 17th, we go out to McEwen because the guy was there to do my sites. We do my sites at the McEwen mine, and then we head out to go look at the project, which is...
He was charged with accessory to murder. So because he, where driver, then 17, helped dispose the body of a dealer shot and killed by his girlfriend. So it was a whole setup. We talked about that on the live stream.
The McEwen Hall Road project we were going to do. He wanted to leave me up at the offices doing SWPs for no reason. He didn't want me to go with him to go watch that project. I'm thinking the reason why was because, again, he was getting rid of evidence of Naomi or whatever. So he tries to leave me at the office. The engineer butts in. She says, no, he's going to go with you. I ended up going with him. I walked about a mile with him because I had an appointment in Winnemucca at 4 p.m. that day, so I couldn't really walk the whole project. I walked with him the whole time. He's being an asshole, giving me shitty remarks and yada, 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 which I knew something was up with him. Something was wrong there at that day. So I walked a mile with him, but then he walked 2 miles by himself out there in a remote area where there's tree line and nobody can see you out there. So that's a perfect place to either dump, body parts or evidence or whatever the case might be. After that day, we go to the office on Friday, and everything's good, normal. That following Monday, I got sent out to the McEwen mine again to go get samples. I got samples, dropped them off in Elko. That was my day. Tuesday, I didn't show up to work. Wednesday comes along. Troy showed up late again because he had a dentist appointment again. That following Friday,
All the time while Naomi's missing, Troy's still somewhat showing to work, but he's still also taking days off, I guess.
Past, he had left early Friday because he had a dentist appointment also. That could have been the date that Naomi went on. I'm not sure. So, Monday goes by. Tuesday, I didn't go. Wednesday, he showed up to the office, clean shaved. Mind you, he had a beard. Remember the beard? Picture, he had a beard. I seen him with the beard. And then Wednesday, he shows up with no beard. I was like, hey, what's up? New look or what? He said, yeah, I just decided to shave it off. I said, oh, wow, okay. This is before I even knew anything of him, okay? Before I knew he was a murderer or anything. I suspect, and I possibly believe 100% that Troy Driver buried some evidence out of those mines of Naomi. Believe it or not, Ledcore had me working with him for 3 weeks, not knowing that he was a murderer and he killed somebody prior to him working for them. How is that? And then they terminate me because I told the FBI evidence that could potentially bring home Naomi or potentially, bring home body parts of Naomi. I mean, he's a crazy guy for sure. Troy Driver is definitely not someone you want to with. I can care less because ain't nobody going to touch me. But definitely post this, share this. Ledcore terminated me for a wrong reason because I helped the FBI potentially get them evidence of Naomi. That's why. And I'm pretty upset and pissed. And I hope that they get theirs. And I'm going to get a lawyer. And I'm going to tell them all the facts. And I have facts. I have emails. I have everything. Troy was a really knowledgeable guy. I never sensed that in him until they started bringing up history of him. Now I know. He's definitely a murderer. I definitely think, sorry to say it, but I definitely think Naomi's already dead. And he buried her somewhere out there. In between all this, that Friday that she went. All right, so my phone actually died earlier. That's why I couldn't finish the video, but here's part number 2. So, as I was saying, I think it was that week, the week after she went missing, we were together again, and we were going out to the Northumberland mine, and he stated, I said, what did you do this weekend, or how'd your weekend go? He stated, oh yeah, I went camping this weekend with the wife and kids. I'm not sure. I don't really ask him, questions about him and his family. But as far as I know, I don't even think he has a wife and kids, or he does have kids, but they're separated. I think he has a girlfriend. So that was already a lie there. That's what made me believe that, in fact, he was the abductor and he was a kidnapper. And the reason why I think that he is, in fact, the killer of her, or, potentially killed her, is because he already had a murder, when he was 17 years old. So if you murdered somebody when you were 17 years old and did 15 years in prison, how in the fuck do you expect him to not kill her after he abducted her? Okay. Another thing is, I don't know what Ledcore's policy is, obviously. I know that they did a good background check on me. I know that they knew everything about me. Why didn't they do that to him? Because he looks like an okay guy? Well, no, he doesn't. Even from the beginning, I called it out. I said, this guy's a fucking weirdo. My son can testify to that.
Facts.
Not only that, we had a couple problems out at the mine too. Like I said, he set me up for catastrophe. He sent me out of the mine without a radio. And he's a safety guy. So how do you do that to somebody? I really do believe she's out there somewhere.
And wasn't he like the supervisor or something?
But I definitely know or feel that she's not alive anymore. Just according to his prior convictions of the murder that he had in Ukiah, California. I definitely 100% think he murdered her. And for Ledcore to even try to cover that up, or for Ledcore to get mad at me for telling the FBI the truth of what I know, is pretty upsetting. It pisses me off, because you would figure that they want me to tell them exactly, what happened or where we're at. In fact, so they could find her body, not to get them in trouble, not to make Ledcore lose jobs, not to make Ledcore look bad.
What do you guys think about this whole situation with this guy? He supposedly he spoke to FBI, but with regards to these videos and him being terminated, give me a comment down below for that. In the paper, it already stated that they arrested Troy Driver at his house, which is a false statement. They arrested Troy Driver at Ledcore's office in Reno, guns blazing and everything. So that's what's. And that's really interesting, because the article that I saw, they said that he was arrested at a house. This guy's saying that's not true. It was actually at the job. Interesting. Crazy about the whole thing is, not only did they lie about that, now they want me to lie about, potential evidence for her, or where she could be at. To me, that should be the last thing on their mind, is them losing a job, $1 million job. Who cares about $1 million job? They're a
quadrillion-dollar company. Medcore is huge. Why would they want me to lie about some evidence that they could have there? You know what I'm saying? Like that's what's really killing me. Yeah, I lost $120,000 job a year, but to me,
it sucks.
Getting the FBI, whatever,
Ain't that the truth? Lord have mercy.
The statements that they needed of where he was at, of where he's lined up, to me is better than anything, you know, really. So, just want to thank Medcore for being such a piece of, and thanks for the opportunity to not be great with you, and thanks for checking your employees' backgrounds. So now, for all you miners out there that have Medcore people on there, don't expect to know who's working on your mine. You know why? Because Medcore doesn't do background checks unless you look like me. Because I can assure you for a fact that they knew everything on my background. Why didn't they know everything about Troy? That's funny. And I was working next to him for 3 weeks. That guy could have fucking murdered me or kidnapped. You know what I'm saying? Like, yes. I'm sure it wouldn't have happened because I would have beat his ass. I'm just saying. Those are the kind of things you gotta watch out for, you know. And they, in fact, did not. They didn't even know who he was until the paper brought it out. So that shows you what kind of background checks they be doing. If they see you as a good-looking person, they're not gonna do a thorough one. They don't really give a fuck.
Yeah.
Medcore is not the place to work, and it's definitely not the contractor to have on your mine site. I'll tell you that right now. Goodbye and have a good day. That was the second part of my video. I'm actually irritated and aggravated right now. I wanna just, you know, but I'm just gonna leave it alone. Like I said, everybody gets theirs. I'm definitely gonna pursue this. This is not the end of this. Medcore will get theirs, and I'm gonna make sure of that. Not only did they terminate me in the wrong way, but they also made me want to hide shit from the FBI for Naomi's, you know, return home. So
how's he gonna hide stuff? He don't know where he puts stuff. That don't make sense.
There's 2 parts to this shit. Share them both. Let the world know what Medcore is doing, and what they wanted me to not do was to talk to the FBI and tell them evidence of where Naomi could have been at. Peace. Please make this viral, please. Thank you guys.
All right.
Just wanted to quickly add that the gold bar mine, I'm pretty sure that's what he was referring to with the McEwen mine.
Let's put that gold bar mine.
McEwen Mining Inc., when he was talking about that they went to the office over there, I believe this is the office for the McEwen Mining Inc. So there's the lead core that's in Reno, and this one, this city is Elko, I believe. So these are the references. Here's kind of like the overall general map. The FBI did put out a $10,000 reward for information with Naomi. And yeah, we'll be seeing what happens during the bail hearing. Let me know down below what you think about this, guy.
All right, if you need more information to finish that, that's Ikamel's channel. I'm going to hurry up and start because I'm already almost coming on an hour. And I'll just play other things and read other things periodically through the live. Because I'm taking notes as I go along as well. I forgot what I'm supposed to be writing down. Woo! Oh, the reward. Because that's going to be very vital to this man's lawsuit if he sues. This is some very interesting information. You're entitled to your opinion about what you believe is true or not pertaining to this case. I'm going to play some audio, and then I'm going to go ahead in my commentary, and feel free to hit the link if you want to give your opinion pertaining to who was Troy Driver. Was he stalking Naomi? Was he stalking her? Because I kind of believe he was. After I've laid everything out of my head visually, him being seen on the camera, lurking around her car, just doesn't add up to be walking around a stranger's automobile. For what reason? You don't live there. You had no business there. You have to be at a job in about 3 hours or so. So what were you doing in a whole other town? Because as I already gave you the demographics of the towns, the layout of these towns, let me say it again. From Fernley to the suspect's house is 31 minutes. Okay? So why would he be there in this rural area? Because they also says the Walmart is rural as well. Makes no sense. Yes, Fernley is 31 minutes to the suspect's house in Fallon, where he lived. Doesn't add up. Thank you all so much for joining me. I'm going to pull up some news. What are you confused about? Why he says they fired him? Because he's opening his mouth telling things about where he thinks that he may have disposed the woman, because they haven't released exactly where she was found deceased, to my knowledge, because I was doing a lot of Google searching before I got on. So they don't want their name mixed up in this mess, because possibly what he said was the truth. They know they didn't do a proper background check. They allowed a man who committed a crime that went to penitentiary for murder, aiding murderers, to work for them. Now here we have a missing woman who he's been linked to kidnapping and now a murder charge. So they don't want their name affiliated with this guy, but it's too late. You allowed him to work for you. You didn't do a thorough background check. Now you're firing somebody who's talking to the FBI, who could possibly give potential evidence to where these where it could be found on their properties or whatever, or mines. Who cares? We're talking about a whole human being who's now dead and possibly linked to one of these properties, mines, or whichsoever. So it's over with. You can't take it back. And those are things these people need to think about. You can't take it back now. News Nation is the source. Thank you for joining me.
To be a normal American teenager, to get a job and to buy a car and to have a boyfriend. And she was found kidnapped in a Walmart parking lot in Fernley, Nevada. There is a suspect behind bars. His name is Troy Driver. At this point, Adrian, he is charged with kidnapping. We are all waiting today to see if the charges will be upgraded to murder.
Ryan, the fact that this woman was taken and she was missing for so long, the daughter of a diplomat, are police still looking at exactly how that might tie into this, or is it more of a crime of opportunity?
It appears at this point to be a crime of opportunity, Adrian. This woman, she would go to the Walmart parking lot early in the morning, 5 a.m., because she would park her car there and catch a shuttle to work. She worked at a battery manufacturing plant, and so that was her routine. And it appears that this man may have been stalking that area, and it was just a crime of opportunity and totally random. She appears to have no connection to this man.
All right. Thank you so much, Brian. And again, thank you for traveling all the way to Nevada for us from Florida. Thank you so much for watching.
All right. So far, it says in this News Nation that she has no connection to him, because that would be one of the questions I would ask. I'm going to go ahead and get started because I'm approaching an hour in. Who is Troy Driver? I brought you said information of his crimes, burglaries as a young man, also younger. He was committing crimes, robbery. He likes to steal. That was his MO as a young person going into adulthood. He did time, 12 years of a 15-year sentence, by helping a young lady who says a Mr. Rodriguez was hurting her, harming her, and he and another guy lied in wait for this man on a road and killed him. And there's a lot to that story I will bring. It's winded as well to what actually happened to Mr. Rodriguez. And I guess I should go ahead and do it now and get it over with. What happened in that said crime to bring us to where we are today with Miss Naomi. Lord have mercy. Here we go. This is a bit winded. MendoFever.com. The violent Mendocino County beginnings of Troy Driver, the lead suspect in the kidnapping and disappearance of Nevada's Naomi Irion. Matt LaFever is the source of this information. At the time when he wrote this, he spoke. 18 days ago, pre-dawn dark Western Nevada, 18-year-old Naomi Irion was waiting in the Fernley Walmart parking lot for the employee bus that took her to their job at the Panasonic facility. As she sat in her car passing the time, records indicate she was on social media and checked in on Snapchat. At 5:25 a.m., surveillance footage captured a masked man approaching Irion's car. He wore a hooded sweatshirt and approached her car from behind. It is unknown what was said, but Irion moved from the driver's seat and the hooded man got into the car with her and drove away. Irion has not been seen since. And you will see in the said article by MendoFever.com 3 photographs of him walking on the sidewalk by a yellow pole with signs and walking down the sidewalks. So he was looking, lurking, lying in wait. It has also been said in the photograph that has gone viral around the country, the world, of her at the store purchasing an energy drink. That is shortly before she was to disappear out of that Walmart parking lot from her car. Lyons County Sheriff's Office announced last Friday a 41-year-old man named Troy Driver was identified as the man surveillance footage had captured before she disappeared. Driver was arrested on the charges of kidnapping, though little is known as to what evidence investigators had collected tying him to her disappearance. Troy Driver has quickly become known by true crime aficionados as the disappearance of Naomi Irion becomes the crime story of 2022. In the bizarre way that so many things seem to return to Mendocino County, the main suspect in the disappearance of Naomi Irion, the last person she was seen with before she disappeared 18 days ago. Troy Driver cut his criminal teeth in none other than Mendocino County. In mid-April 1997, Driver and accomplices would wield a semi-automatic handgun and a pistol-grip shotgun on 3 separate occasions, committing 3 armed robberies between Mendocino and Sonoma County. April 22, 1997, Driver and 3 others would carefully manufacture the circumstances that led to the shotgun murder of another teen. Driver and another would stuff the body in the trunk of the victim's car, dump the corpse off of Highway 128 east of Navarro, and then torch the car to get rid of evidence on Branscombe Road. News outlets around the nation are beginning to connect Driver with these crimes from 25 years ago. We want to tell the whole story. A thorough examination of the Ukiah Daily Journal's coverage of the crimes penned by reporter Dan McKee provides a comprehensive account of Driver's role in the murder of methamphetamine dealer and insight into his criminality. We speak with a Mendocino County lawman who investigated the crime himself. Ultimately, we seek to understand the violent origins of a man the world is coming to know, but Mendocino County knows all too well. I will read you the said article coming out of California pertaining to the murder of this young man. Police are asking for help in finding a Willits teenager missing since April 21st. Paul Stephen Rodriguez was last seen about 8 p.m. that day driving a 1986 Mercury Cougar in Willits area, Police Chief John Brown said Friday. The car is maroon with gray primer on the front fenders, Brown said. It has California license plates, INRU 954. Rodriguez is 19 years old, 5 feet 8 inches tall with dark blonde hair and blue eyes, weighs 270 pounds and has a small scar on the bridge of his nose. He was last seen wearing black sweats and t-shirt with black tennis shoes and a beige baseball cap with the Fila logo on it. Rodriguez also was wearing a silver ring with 4 diamonds and was carrying a black wallet that attaches with a long chain. Anyone with information concerning Rodriguez's whereabouts is asked to call the Willits Police Department. And then it gives you the number. On May 4th and May 6, 1997, Ukiah Daily Journal published similar small blurbs regarding missing 19-year-old man by the name of Paul Stephen Rodriguez. He had last been seen April 21st driving his 1986 Mercury Cougar around Willits. Rodriguez, standing at 5'8", 270, and adorned with blonde hair and blue eyes, was dressed in classic wear of late 90s urban cool. Black t-shirt, sweats, black tennis shoes, beige baseball cap with a Fila logo, silver ring, 4 diamonds, black wallet attached with a chain. The public was asked to contact Willits Police Department if they had any information to provide. Next article is pertaining to the body being found of Mr. Rodriguez. The body of a missing 19-year-old Willits man was found Tuesday in a shallow grave off of Highway 128. Paul Stephen Rodriguez reportedly had been shot in the head Rodriguez was last seen 8 p.m. Tuesday, April 22nd, driving his maroon-colored 1986 Mercury Cougar around Willits. Rodriguez's body reportedly was brought to Ukiah for positive identification. An autopsy has been scheduled to determine the precise cause of death. Things are getting wrapped up, Sheriff Sergeant Kevin Brown told the Daily Journal this morning. Several suspects are already in custody in the case, Brown said. More arrests may be imminent. So the man went missing around April 22nd. That was on a Tuesday, 8 p.m. Oh, mercy. He was shot in the head, allegedly by the girlfriend. Very disturbing news. So he went missing April 22nd and found on May 7th by search and rescue personnel buried in a shallow grave along Highway 128, 2 miles east of Navarro. Ukiah Daily Journal writer Dan McKee, who would write the paper's entire coverage of the crime, wrote that Rodriguez had been shot in the head and brought back to Ukiah for positive identification and an autopsy. No details were provided, but Mendocino County Sheriff's Office Sergeant Kevin Brown told McKee that at that point several suspects were in custody and more arrests imminent. Third article. 19-year-old man, 2 teenagers have been arrested on suspicion of murder in connection with the death of missing Willits teen. Members of the Mendocino County Sheriff's Office search and rescue team reportedly discovered the body of Paul Stephen Rodriguez at 10:15 a.m. Tuesday in a heavily wooded area off of Highway 128 east of Navarro. The team was called in after preliminary search of the area by deputies earlier that morning failed to turn up the body of the youth. Investigators were led to the scene by Carl Dulinsky, 19, one of a trio accused of shooting Rodriguez to death along Schaefer Ranch Road in Willits shortly after midnight on Tuesday, April 22nd. Second Detective Sergeant Ron Welch. Rodriguez, who had turned 19 just days before his death, reportedly was lured to the secluded spot by his 17-year-old ex-girlfriend just after midnight. Whether it was ongoing or not, I know that at some point in time, they had a dating relationship, Sheriff Sergeant Kevin Brown said. He said he was unsure whether Rodriguez had broken up with the girlfriend before the shooting. The victim's mother, in shock after she sent family members searching for her son last month, said the girl was supposed to be his girlfriend, but I guess she wasn't. On Schaefer Ranch Road, Rodriguez and the girl reportedly were met by Dulinsky and a 17-year-old boy, and that boy would be our infamous Troy driver. Browan said the girl allegedly shot Rodriguez in the head. Then the three stuffed the corpse into the trunk of Rodriguez's 1986 Mercury Cougar. And then it goes on. Oh, Lord, this is too much. On May 8th, 2021, the Ukiah Daily Journal published another article by Dan McKee titled, More Details Released on Willits' Murder. Paul Rodriguez, buried in a shallow grave off of Highway 128 2 days before, was located by search and rescue personnel. Law enforcement was led to the scene by 19-year-old Carl Dulinsky, one of the 3 teens involved in the midnight murder along Willits Schaefer Ranch Road 16 days prior. Law enforcement told the Ukiah Daily Journal that Rodriguez was lured by his 17-year-old girlfriend to a secluded spot on the rural road where they were met by Dulinsky and then unnamed 17-year-old male. MCSO Sergeant Kevin Brown said the girl allegedly shot Rodriguez in the head. Then the 3 stuffed the corpse into the trunk of Rodriguez's Mercury Cougar and drove south, dumping the body off the side of the road about 3 miles east of Navarro. Sergeant Brown reported an informant had divulged the murder plot to police, and there was evidence the trio planned to kill Rodriguez before he was lured to Schaefer Ranch Road. As of May 8, 1997, Rodriguez's maroon Mercury Cougar had not been located, and the two unnamed parties arrested for the crime were booked into juvenile hall. And as I said, there's another article in here just recapping basically what I've just read. Carl Dolinsky stood in front of a judge, Jonathan Leon, at the Willits Municipal Court on May 9, 1997. He was accused of providing a teenage girl with a shotgun she would then use to kill her boyfriend, Paul Rodriguez. 17-year-old Elisa Marie Moore used the shotgun to shoot Rodriguez in the head inside a home owned by the parents of 17-year-old Troy Driver, located on the isolated Schaefer Ranch Road, south of Willits. Let me repeat that again. The girlfriend, Alyssa Marie Moore, used the shotgun to shoot Rodriguez in the head inside a home owned by the parents of Troy Driver. A prosecutor for the Mendocino County District Attorney's Office filed a petition that both Driver and Moore be tried as adults in the case, in which they both face charges of murder while lying in wait. If approved, the teens could be sentenced to life in prison without parole. Carl Dolinsky's attorney delayed his client's entering of a plea because at that point he knew nothing of the case except what he read in area newspapers. The plea hearing was postponed till May 15, 1997. A mere 2 days after discovering the body of Rodriguez, investigators were still working to determine the motive in his killing. After shooting him in the head, Dolinsky, Driver, and Moore dragged the 270-pound man to his car and drove 55 miles before dumping the body off the roadway near Navarro. Despite questioning and videotaped statements from all the suspects, Sergeant Broll told the Ukiah Daily Journal, "If I don't think there's any clear-cut evidence of a motive, Carl Dolinsky and Troy Driver behind bars for their suspected role in the murder of 19-year-old Paul Rodriguez were charged May 14, 1997 for 3 separate armed robberies in Ukiah, Willits, and Sonoma counties, Roanoke Park in days preceding of Rodriguez's killing." 17-year-old Alyssa Marie Moore, the girlfriend of Rodriguez, who pulled the trigger of a shotgun, ending her boyfriend's life, reportedly implicated Dolinsky, Driver, and one other adult woman who acted as the getaway driver in the robberies. April 4th, 1997. Driver Dolinsky reportedly robbed the Ukiah Circle K on East Perkins Street at 2:30 in the morning, armed with a semi-automatic pistol and pistol-grip shotgun. 10 days later, the pair would use the same weapons to rob Chevron service stations located in Willits and Roanoke Park during the early morning hours of April 14th. In all 3 robberies, Driver Dolinsky stole small amounts of cash, cigarettes. Ukiah Police Department Sergeant Dan Walker told the Ukiah Daily Journal. Tuesday, May 13, 1997, investigators had finally located Rodriguez's burned-out maroon Mercury Cougar on rural Branscombe Road, 25 miles north of Willits. Dolinsky was being housed in the Lake County Jail for security reasons, according to Sergeant Walker. Yeah, because he snitched. That's why. At this point, Driver Dolinsky Moore had been charged with first-degree murder in Rodriguez's death. Ukiah Daily Journal article also shed light on Dolinsky's father, known in Hell's Angel circles as Shithouse Carl. Lord have mercy. I don't even want to know what that means. Hold on one second, guys. Okay. Shithouse Carl, a nickname he was given for running a porta potty business, would actually act as an informant for the government when investigating the 1986 quadruple murder committed by Hell's Angels Gerald Lester and Charles Diaz. In October 1986, Lester and Diaz would kill a family of 4 in a cabin east of Fort Bragg. The patriarch was Billy Grondowski, a former Hell's Angel, who was shot in the mouth His wife, Patricia, would be shot in the forehead, and 17-year-old Nolan Vandergriff, Grandowski's son from a different marriage, would be shot below the left eye. Billy and Patricia's daughter, Dallas, would be shot and have her throat slit. The killers would torch the cabin, hoping to cover up their crimes. The story comes out, a fourth suspect is caught. Ooh, Lord have mercy. This is suspect number 4 in the death of Paul Rodriguez. Authorities are seeking a fourth suspect on April 21st shotgun slaying of 19-year-old Willits man. Charlotte, driver, 19. It's the sister of 17-year-old Troy Edward, driver. Lord have mercy, it gets worse. One of 3 suspects already charged in the death of Paul Stephen Rodriguez. She reportedly is living in Italy with her serviceman husband, investigators say. Charlotte was allegedly present when Troy driver and 19-year-old Carl Herbert Dulinsky agreed to help Alyssa Marie Moore, 17, kill Rodriguez during a drive to Ukiah just hours before the killing. The sheriff's office confirmed this morning. Details of the crime began to emerge Wednesday in affidavits filed in Superior Court May 6, May 8 by law enforcement officers seeking search warrants. Thank you all for joining me. On May 16, 1997, Ukiah Daily Journal provided the public with the most detailed account of the night Rodriguez was killed and murder plot cooked up by driver, Dulinsky, and more. The article also announced that Troy driver's older sister, 19-year-old Charla, driver, was actively being sought for her suspected involvement in the slaying of Paul Rodriguez. She was thought to be in Italy living with her serviceman husband. The Mendocino County Sheriff's Office told the Ukiah Daily Journal Charlotte driver was present when her 17-year-old brother Troy, 19-year-old Carl Dulinsky, agreed to help Alyssa Marie Moore, 17, kill Rodriguez during a drive to Ukiah just hours before the killing, via information gathered from a series of affidavits. The Ukiah Daily Journal stated that the plot to kill Rodriguez began when driver and Dulinsky told Moore they would help her kill her boyfriend at the driver Schaefer Ranch Road home in early morning of April 21st. To lure Rodriguez to the home, 17-year-old Moore would tell him Troy driver's mother had a car break down on 75-yard dirt driveway leading to his house. The plan was, according to tape interviews of Dulinsky, either he or driver would kill Rodriguez once he had arrived. Now we have to ask ourselves, why didn't either one kill Rodriguez? Why was it the girlfriend doing the hit? Very interesting. Troy and Charlotte driver proceeded to drive their 1983 Dodge Aries down the dirt driveway, parking near a horse trailer, where driver and Dulinsky stored the shotgun. To create the ruse, the vehicle was disabled. Driver and Dulinsky raised the hood of the Dodge Aries, pulled an engine wire, and waited for Rodriguez and Moore to arrive. When Moore and Rodriguez arrived, the couple got out of the car, and Rodriguez, there to help them diagnose the inoperable vehicle, positioned himself at the left front side of the Dodge Aries to look into the engine compartment. Moore grabbed the shotgun stowed in the nearby horse trailer, and while her boyfriend was inspecting the engine, pointed it at his head and fired. Rodriguez fell back, and Moore reportedly became excited, quote unquote. Driver took the shotgun from Moore, handed it to Dulinsky, who then placed it on the ground. Driver walked with Moore away from Rodriguez's dead body, trying to calm the girl. She began making declarations of love to the fallen body. Okay, I heard it all now. When the pair circled back to where Rodriguez's body lay, driver told Dulinsky to pick up the shotgun from the ground. Troy, driver's sister Charlotte, got behind the wheel of their Dodge Aries and drove it back to their house. Moore backed Rodriguez's Mercury Cougar up to his body to load him into the truck. At 270 pounds, Rodriguez' move proved difficult to move, so driver and Dolinsky improvised a ramp using a metal partition used to separate the stall in the horse's trailer, rolling Rodriguez's body into the trunk. To get Rodriguez to fit in the trunk, driver had to remove a large speaker assembly from Cougar's trunk. As they rolled Rodriguez's body up the improvised ramp, his shoes fell off and his wallet, as well as loose change, fell from his pockets. Driver picked up the shoes and threw them in the trunk, and Moore picked up his wallet and change, placing them in her jacket. Despite removing the speaker system, Rodriguez proved too big to fit in the trunk. So driver used a 4-foot-long metal fence post to leverage the 270-pound man into the cramped space. At that point, driver, Dolinsky, and Moore drove Highway 128, dumped Rodriguez's body about 2 miles east of Navarro. Then it goes on to say that the press was barred from the trial. Attorney moves to bar the press from the trial of Troy driver. I'm not going to go into all that. Let's see. It's very winded information I just brought you. But that's just to give you a rundown. Let me go to talk about driver. Let's see. At driver's sentencing hearing, driver's probation officer Thomas J. Kropp told Judge Brown he was concerned that driver might not thrive in prison. He added the 17-year-old was not jailed. He could be in danger to the community. The final suspect in Rodriguez's death, Troy driver's sister Charlotte, fled the country immediately after Rodriguez's murder. She sought refuge in Italy where her serviceman husband lived. Approximately 1 month after the murder, Italian authorities, at the behest of the Mendocino County Sheriff's Office, Mendocino County District Attorney's Office, and the Federal Bureau of Investigation, located Charlotte driver, and from June 1997 to February 1988, she was imprisoned in an Italian jail. On February 10, 1998, the Ukiah Daily Journal reported Charlotte driver was in Mendocino County to face justice for her role in the murder of Rodriguez and the armed robberies. She would plead guilty to being an accessory to the murder and 2 counts of second-degree robbery for driving the getaway car for her brother and Dolinsky. Charlotte driver's punishment would be the lightest of the 4 involved, sentenced to 2 years in the Mendocino County Jail and placed on formal probation for her role in the killing of Rodriguez. She told the police that as she watched the ruse designed by Moore to kill Rodriguez play out, she didn't believe it was going to happen. She admitted that the 2 years before the murder, she had spun into methamphetamine addiction, and while in Italian jail, she had attempted suicide several times and burned herself with cigarettes. Judge Nelson ordered that Charlotte driver, along with the jail time and probation, be ordered for evaluation for placement into an in-house drug rehabilitation program. If accepted, she would serve her time there. Let's see. August 26 article, UDJ, regarding driver's sentencing. Hearing brought forth information about his past not mentioned in previous coverage of the murder. Readers learned that driver's criminal record stretched back 5 years before the killing. 92, he was sentenced to community service for shooting a deer out of season. 94, at 14, he was sentenced to formal probation for residential break-ins. Several firearms taken in burglary of Quality Firearms store on Ore Springs Road. 10 months after being caught burglarizing, he was removed from his parents' home, lodged in Shasta Youth Connection because he pointed a pistol at another youth while demanding information. Deputy Probation Officer Thomas J. Kropp offered insightful observations about drivers' perceptions of his criminality that give a glimpse into the moral landscape geared toward a life of criminal behavior. When asked why he had robbed gas stations, he told Kropp he needed money to pay bills and helped his sister get her passport to Italy to be with her husband, serviceman husband. Driver told Kropp that it was easier to rob someone than to work and earn the money. Kropp ascertained the driver had begun smoking marijuana at the age of 15, describing himself as a heavy-duty daily user and telling the probation officer he took a hit of marijuana about every 5 minutes for the past 2 years. Driver also divulged that he had been drinking heavily every day before the killing of Rodriguez. Kropp observed that driver was quite the charmer. He seemed to answer every question with all the right answers. Despite his surface charm, juvenile hall records indicated driver was written up for multiple infractions while in custody, like threatening staff members, refusing to follow directions, and causing numerous problems during transport to and from the court. While in juvenile hall, Kropp also said the driver had faked a suicide attempt. Oh, Lord. After spending a considerable amount of time interviewing driver, Kropp said, I also believe Mr. Driver was more involved in this case than we are led to believe. It will be many months after Paul Rodriguez's murder that the totality of the truth would emerge, pieced together through affidavits and the testimony of investigators. Only then could investigators get a clear picture of the dynamics that would inspire a teen girl to meticulously plan the killing of her older boyfriend and recruit others in her efforts. Before Driver and Dolinsky robbed Circle K, Driver told his probation officer that Dolinsky kept talking about wanting to kill someone. To avoid the possibility that Dolinsky would become murderous, Driver told his probation officer he gave Dolinsky a pistol with a reverse-firing pin. The pair would steal a total of $78 during that robbery. Next robberies occurred on the same day in Willits and Roanoke Park, and Driver and Dolinsky would be accompanied by Robert Collier and Charlotte Driver. Troy's sister and another youth would remain in the care. The two robberies would get $170 and 20 packs of cigarettes. The robbery crew then drove to Charlotte Driver's home and split the money 5 ways. So they split $170 5 ways. $30-something. Lord have mercy. Collier later admitted to police that he was Driver and Dolinsky's lookout while they burglarized the Willits coast-to-coast hardware store. So Collier was the lookout for Driver and Dolinsky for the hardware store robbery. In the early morning of February 20th, Driver threw a rock through one of the windows to gain entry, and the trio fled with several guns, which they took to the home of Alyssa Moore. Paul Rodriguez's brother Michael would reveal to Willis police that the guns stolen from the hardware store that night were later sold to Paul to exchange for drugs, including methamphetamine. Driver corroborated this information, telling Officer Kropp that Rodriguez was a well-known drug dealer who had guns. So these people robbed the guns and exchanged them with Paul for dope, and then later end up killing Paul. Charlotte Driver would later tell law enforcement that Paul Rodriguez and Alyssa Moore's relationship had resulted in multiple occasions of domestic abuse. This angered Troy Driver due to a big brother, little sister dynamic he had with Moore. At one point, Moore showed Driver bruises inflicted by Rodriguez, and he proposed she move into his home so he could protect her. So now you have to ask yourself, how is it that he could ask this girl to move in his house when he lived with his parents? Very crazy. 6 days after the robbery crew had knocked off the Chevron gas stations in Willits and Roanoke Park, Moore drove Rodriguez Mercury Cougar to Ukiah with Driver, Dolinsky, and Charlotte. As they drove back to Willits, Moore reportedly complained she was tired of the way Paul was treating her. She asked Driver and Dolinsky to kill Rodriguez for her. Driver told probation that this was not the first time she had talked about killing Rodriguez, but always regarded her sentiments as just a threat. This time, Moore had a plan. She laid out her purse to Driver. She laid out her ruse, and Dolinsky, to Driver and Dolinsky. She would lure Rodriguez onto the rural road near Driver's house with the potential of a drug deal. And then upon arrival, there would be a vehicle purposely disabled. She planned on killing him when he was hunched over attempting to fix the car. Moore dropped Driver and Dolinsky off, and the two reportedly discussed her proposal but did not want to go through with it. Driver would later get the pistol-gripped shotgun from his house and place it in a horse trailer near the driveway. The two young men would later see Moore and Willits and tell her they could not go through with the plan, and she told them it was okay and she would do it herself. And which she did do it. So I don't really know why she needed these guys. I think she needed them to dump the body because he was a heavy guy. She couldn't lift him by herself. Mendocino County lawman remembers Troy Driver. Sheriff Matt Kendall was working MCSO's Narcotics Task Force. As drugs began to intersect with violence, the task force was reimagined as the Major Crimes Task Force, investigating both narcotics and any crime that resulted from their sales or manufacturing. Sheriff Kendall remembered Willits' drug scene. He remembered Paul Rodriguez, who he called Fat Paul. He remembers the crew he ran with, the weapons, and methamphetamine. He also remembers recovering Rodriguez's body underneath brush from the roadside. He called the killing of Rodriguez a thrill kill. I'm going to stop there because this is very winded, and I want to get to this issue. There's only a little bit left of this article by MendoFever.com. As you see, they had a lengthy background, but I wanted to read you that so you can get an idea of what actually happened back in 97 to get to where we are now with Troy Driver. How did it come to be, these two? News Nation now says they didn't know each other. So was he stalking her? Where did he first see Naomi? Why her? Why did he choose her? How long had he been stalking her? What has he done since getting out of prison in 1997? What has he done? What other crimes has he committed? Has he done this before? Killed somebody else after killing that guy, Rodriguez, and going to penitentiary? Was he actually married with children? If he is married, what does she think? The guy you heard in the Icamail's video says he believes he has a girlfriend. So what does she think? If indeed he has a girlfriend. And does he have kids? How long has he lived in this Fallon town? How long has he been there? Lived alone? What? Roommate? What? Friends, family? What? What has he been actually doing since being released from prison? Is he an addict? Meth addict? Because people who do drugs tend to do these types of crimes as well. And he has a history, I'm sure, of using drugs. He made it clear back then. It's just easier to rob people than go to work. But damn, you killed a whole person. So it's more to it than just robbing them. You did this because you liked this girl. You were friends with her. You thought of her as a little sister. So you killed this guy, helped her kill this guy, dump his body, because he allegedly was beating up on her. Why didn't you tell her, hey, just leave him? And how did you get your sister involved as a lookout person for the robberies? So you go from one extreme to the other. You help set up a ruse to kill a man. And before that, you get your sister to help you rob stores as a lookout driver and the driver. So you were a menace even before agreeing to help aid in this murder of this boy. Very, very sick. The co-worker who talks in this Icamail's video gives information that he thinks there's evidence in the mines. Why did he get fired? Why did the company fire him? And in the same breath, FBI gives him a reward, $10,000. Interesting. Do you believe the information that this guy is given about knowing of Mr. Driver's behavior? Was he acting funny the weekend of killing Naomi? Shaved his beard, he says. He found that suspicious. Why did he shave his beard? Did he normally walk around with a beard for a long-winded time? Like I said, why did they fire this guy? He's going to sue them and he'll probably win. Because you had no reason to fire him. He had every right to go to the FBI with information if he thought the guy had some knowledge or involvement with the crime. It's very sick. He said he got no sense that this man was a murderer. And he did believe that the woman was dead while the report was out that she was missing. It is their fault, Letcore. Why did you all not do a proper background check? Is it because he was a white man? Because you hear this man talking, he's Hispanic. So is this a racial issue of you not doing background checks on Caucasian people? Because imagine now what you have to explain to the world, that you let this white man come work for you without a proper background check, statewide check, numerous state check, and then you fire a Hispanic man for giving up information to law officials as he is supposed to do. So you are in big trouble, because now you're going to be sued, and he can say it's racial profiling, that you did extensive check on him and not this guy who's killed some people, killed a person, and God knows what else he's done. Letcore, you are foul. You are majorly foul. He told this guy that he went camping with his wife and kids, but the guy said he didn't believe that. He thinks he has a girlfriend. He just lied. Why? Why would he lie? And as I said, if he has a girlfriend, what did she think of the situation? Did they do a formal background check on Mr. Driver Letcore? The guy also says he believes he set him up for catastrophe, sending him out there to the mines not properly equipped. Was this true? Is this true? Was he setting the guy up for catastrophe? I do believe Letcore is grimy for firing this man for giving information to the FBI. He did the right thing. He also states that the man was not arrested at his house or home. He was arrested at Letcore. So why would that not be revealed to the public? Why would you lie about where Mr. Driver was arrested? Is there something going on with Letcore? Now we have to ask all the questions. $120,000 job gone. But believe me, the payout will be way better than the $120,000 he made a year. Most definitely. Bad managers, supervisors, and then they had the ultimate bad employee who now is involved in 2 murders that we know of. As the guy says, I could have been a victim. Of course, because if this man is still in the business of knocking people off, he probably still robbing people too. So how many other people has he killed since being charged with the murder from a long time ago? The fact that they want him talking to the FBI, what did they think he was going to be? This made no sense to me, Letcore. You didn't want them going out there to the mines because what? You didn't want the locations of the mines being revealed? Or you didn't want your name involved in this scandal with this man? Or all of the above? It's not a secret now. Gold Bar Mines will be known in infamy now. And as I said, FBI offered up a $10,000 reward for Naomi. What is the connection to this lady? Why did he choose this lady on this fateful morning? Had he been driving around this town, which is a little ways from where he lived, I brought you the information. The town is not near him. So what the hell was he doing there? And why did he pick a place at least an hour away to dump the body? Was she dumped whole? And why her? Did he not know that Walmart has cameras? Did he not think that Walmart is like Big Brother? Stay woke. Walmart has everything. You go to Walmart right now in the self-checkout, and there is a screen in front of you on the register that shows everything you're scanning. And if that machine thinks you missed something, it will call an error. So I'm going to say this to Mr. Driver. How in God's name did you think there were no cameras outside of Walmart? This appears planned to me, this crime, because of where he was outside of the car, walking, pacing back and forth, being at a homeless camp, perhaps using that as a ruse to blend in to watch his prey, which was Miss Naomi. He been watching her. How long? Why her? Why this 18-year-old woman? Had he ever talked to her in conversation? It's been said that she was on a date site, but as I said, News Nation now is saying no connection. So naturally, they've checked her phones or checked phone records to see if perhaps she's ever talked to this man via cell phone, social media. Why this young lady? How long was he watching her? Why did he pick this lady? Most construction workers get up to be to work about 7:30. So he's lurking around a parking lot at 4-something in the morning and 30-something minutes away and drive or more. Then that means you deliberately went to another town to watch your prey, which leads us to believe at some point he either went to that town looking for a victim or was in that town for some reason and eyed Miss Irion. So how long had this I Spy been going on with her? Very, very depressing. Because she didn't deserve this. And no woman deserves this. Shot her in the head and chest. Seems very personal. But that's the thing about aiding people and or being a witness to a murder. It's in you now. He lied in wait for that Rodriguez boy. He watched his friend shoot Rodriguez and put this heavy man into a trunk, basically pushing and shoving his body in there to make it fit, and then dumping him down a highway. So it's in him. And he was not rehabilitated. 12 years, he learned nothing but how to not get caught the next time. So he thought. But he was caught this time. By the grace of God, he was caught. And we're going to thank Walmart for those great cameras. Amen. And this young man who worked with Mr. Driver for coming forward and talking to the FBI. He did the right thing. No such thing as a snitch when you're trying to help find a missing person. There's no such thing. How did we get to this place? And has Mr. Driver committed any more crimes besides the crime that he did the 12 years for? Are we now saying that perhaps Mr. Driver has been a busy bee since getting out of penitentiary? Has he still been robbing people and murdering people? He's lived in several places, Nevada and also California. And as I said, he has not learned his lesson for killing. He has a taste for it. He likes it. He obviously likes it. I'm going to drop the link if you want to give your opinion pertaining to this baffling story, this horrible story. She deserved better than what she got. Coming back to the States to live with her brother, 18, just getting out of the saddle. But she didn't get out good enough because she was violently taken from the world by a monster. You see, I bring you these stories for a reason. It's to show you the one thing I keep saying about people in general. You don't know people. And this is that one story where you definitely don't know people. Where is his family? Friends? Who was he living with at the time of his arrest? And will they come forward and give commentary pertaining to who they thought Troy Driver was? And did they know of his past? Any persons living with him and or acquaintances? And what will Ledcourt say to the general public about hiring a convicted murderer who has done time in penitentiary? And let's also talk to the judicial system in California. You're supposed to have one of the strictest judicial systems, but I beg to differ. You let a 17-year-old go to prison, you charged him as an adult, but you didn't give him enough time. He robbed several people using a weapon and also killed a man and then abuse of a corpse. He should have got way more than 12 years. 15 years is not enough for just the robberies themselves. Basically, you were giving him 5 years per robbery with the weapon. That's not even counting the murder. Accessory to a murder. He got a slap on the wrist. When you count the years, they're not equivalent to the crimes of robbing with a weapon and then murder. It's ridiculous. And he only did 12 years. So divide all the crimes into 12. And what do you come up with? 4, 5, 6 crimes divided by 12. It doesn't even equal out. You're talking about damn near 2 years per crime. You might as well just set him free with ankle bracelet. Hey, you buddy, you go to work and come back home. Now you're here. Make sure you're in the house before dark. That's the world we live in. 12 years is nothing for running up to people with guns and robbing them. And then the ultimate crime, lying in wait for a man to kill him. Mr. Rodriguez may have been beating the girl up. He may have been a nasty son of a something. But that wasn't your place to take his life. Mr. Driver, Miss Moore, Miss Charlotte Driver, and your other friends. You all are some dirty ass people. And I'd like to know who the hell's with your sister now, because she got the lightest sentence of 2 years for being the getaway driver in your robberies. So see, another slap on the wrist. They used the sister as a driver, and she's older than all of them, and she should have had more sense about her damn self. So where is that heifer right now? Well, because Charlotte, you know people are going to be coming looking for you too, honey. Now that your brother's come out as a murderer, they're going to come knocking on your door. Maybe a YouTuber will find you. They like searching for people. The YouTubers like banging on doors and inboxes. Maybe some of them dirty YouTubers in California will find you. Start asking you questions about your role in those robberies out there in California. And what do you think of your brother now being arrested for kidnapping and murder of Miss Irion? Very interesting. Thank you, T. If you'd like to hit the link, please join us. I'm 1 hour and 38 minutes in. Sorry, it was very lengthy information, that article. Because it was bringing you information to the roles of all the people involved in that murder of Mr. Rodriguez. To show you who Troy Driver is as a person. He's been a very nasty, nasty male. And he has shown the courts and the general public that he cannot be trusted to walk amongst us and do the right thing. He is sick and he is vile. And he has once violated a human being by murder. And I pray he never gets out of jail. That's sad information. If you'd like to donate to the channel, $DeGanji, 129 Cash App, all super chat to welcome during this live. If you'd like to join me up here on the panel, feel free to hit the link to give your opinion pertaining to this being an orchestrated murder, kidnapping of Miss Irion. Was Mr. Driver stalking this woman? Had he been watching her, lying in wait? What led him to this town? What business did he have in this town? What was he doing in that Walmart at 4 in the morning? Had he been watching her? If so, how long had he been watching her? Did he use the homeless camp as a ruse to lie in wait for her? Where did he park his car while he was stalking her at this Walmart? Where was his car when he parked, where he parked, watching her? See, you have to ask all those questions. When he brought her car back to the Sherman-Williams store, where was the car? Ah, interesting. Did he own a car? He had to go to work. He had a job. There was mentioning of a truck being involved through surveillance. So what do we say? How did he get to the Walmart? Jumped in the car with the woman. Was her door unlocked? Did he pull out a gun? She was scared. She moved over to the passenger seat. They went off into the night where he did his dirty business with her, shot her more than once, dumped her out in rural Nevada. As I said, hour and 18 minutes away from the said location. Why her? Why shoot her more than once? Seems very personal. But as I tell people, a lot of people have been gunned down, shot in the face, the head, shot several times, and the perpetrator did not know the victim. Same thing as in stabbing a human being multiple times. Most people will say, well, they were stabbed 30 times. They must have known the victim. That is an assumption. There have been people who have been stabbed numerous times, and the perpetrator did not know their victim. Why Miss Irion? Why anybody? But still, why her? Why did you have to follow her, watch her, make your way into her car? Why did you even have to kill her? If it was for sexual purposes, you didn't have to murder her. But you knew the game. You lied in penitentiary for a while. You knew that you couldn't leave a witness. She would surely tell. It was said this lady had a sheltered life. And as I said to crime monsters earlier, when they spoke of her being sheltered, her family, did they mean sheltered as in security reasons because her father was a diplomat, or sheltered in she didn't have much experiences with mingling with others, green to the world, the ideologies of the world? Or is it a combination of both? How terrible it is to be 18 and not get to experience living. Not be able to have a boyfriend, go on dates, to be loved by someone else besides your parents and family. Not to get that opportunity to be loved by outside person and to give love. She was robbed of that experience and chance. She will never be a mother, Miss Irion. Her mother, father will never get the joy of being grandparents. And some guy would never get the chance to be a partner for Miss Irion. And a child wouldn't get the experience of having her as a mother. She was robbed. Definitely robbed. And now her parents sit without a child, and a brother sits without a sister, and other acquaintances, friends now have lost their friend. For a sick SOB that was given the opportunity to get out of prison. And when they say get out of jail free card, they meant that. Because he was afforded the opportunity to get out after 12 years of an alleged 15-year sentence for brazen crimes, and murder being the worst, to only go on years later to murder Miss Irion. The system is not fair. It has never been fair, because you can get out on technicalities. You can be released. Sentences can be overturned, thrown out. It can go a multitude of ways. And unfortunately for Miss Irion and her family and the community as a whole, this dirty SOB was released to the general public to terrorize this small area in Nevada. And so we have to ask the ultimate question now: are there other victims of Mr. Driver? Are there other victims of this creep? Lord have mercy. It's terrible. There are no words to describe your child going missing, an adult child, and then to later find out that they have been kidnapped and it is on surveillance, and still wonder if your child is alive or not, and hoping and praying and pleading with the public and the abductor to bring the child back. Just please bring her back. And unfortunately, she was not brought back alive. And now we ask, where was she found? Was she found in one of the locations mentioned by this co-worker of Mr. Driver? And why does he have to pay the piper for being affiliated with the murderer and working for a company where the murderer also worked? That's a cruel punishment, is it not? And hard as it is to find a job to your liking, let's say, and a paying, well-paying job where you can pay bills and live cohesively, you're now without a job and being scrutinized by these people who you trust to work for. But you see, that's the world. See, it's not just the judicial system that's cruel. Cruelty is everywhere. You're working with a murderer that you don't know. You feel like you're being sabotaged by the murderer that you don't know. And then you tell the truth and your job fires you. So he was triple threat, this man here, working with Mr. Driver. Being screwed by the co-worker, being screwed by his employer. Can't get any worse than that. But that's the devil. He works everywhere. He doesn't have stipulations of where he will roam. The devil works at home. The devil works in your neighborhood. The devil works at your job. The devil works with your friends and associates, your family. The devil works at the church. He's everywhere. No stipulations. Lord have mercy. Prayers for Miss Irion's family. Prayers for this man who came forward to talk to FBI about Mr. Driver. Pray that he gets a better paying job, and I pray he gets compensation from the company for firing him, Ledcor. And they are dirty too. And as I said, we will lie and wait and see what they bring forward as an excuse to how they hired a man with a murder charge on his belt. How did you miss that? Did you not do a thorough background check? Or did you only check the state of Nevada for criminal record? Because most companies hire an outside company to do background checks. So it won't matter if it's done thoroughly. If it's done thoroughly. They would have seen that he had gotten a murder charge and time in prison. Very sick. Very sick story. That's really all I have to say pertaining to Troy Driver. I think it's ill. There are a lot of ill people out here, and you don't know people. There's just no such thing as knowing people. And this story is a prime example that this man immersed himself in another state and worked by people, with people, lived in a community, and nobody knew he was a sadist and a murderer. So how do you go from killing someone for someone to later abducting a woman, sexually assaulting her, and then murdering her in cold blood and dumping her body? Explain that to me. 17 years old, you're trying to help your friend, allegedly. But yet you were a robber, thief before that. So see, that's separate crime. Then you go to penitentiary, get out. So you went from robbing people with a weapon, killing, helping your friend kill a man, dump a body, to now kidnapping, sexual assault, and murder again. So one could say you had deviant thoughts at 17, deviant thoughts at 14. At what age did Troy Driver have thoughts of sadism, kidnap, and sexual assault? When did he have his first desire to kidnap a woman, assault a woman? You have to ask yourself that. Did he do anything of this nature while a teenager, but didn't get caught? Young lady never told. He looked at this Miss Moore as a little sister. Did they ever have anything going on between them sexually? The one like the other one. And where's the husband? The serviceman that was married to Troy Driver's sister, Charla. What does he think about all of this now? Hell, what did he think of all the mess then? When his wife extradited back to the States for aiding in robberies and murder of Mr. Rodriguez. You see, everybody had a role to play. If it was just a bystander, they were affiliated with these creeps. So did he stay married to her while she did her stint in jail for 2 years? Did she go back to Italy, or did she stay here in the United States? Charla, Mr. Driver's sister. This is a very wicked story. Because all these people were evilly yoked as young people, drug addicts. I'm assuming probably all of them got high doing something. Mr. Driver was drinking and smoking marijuana. And a lot of people don't think marijuana is a major drug. To many people, it's a harmless drug to indulge in. But I have heard people who started off with marijuana advancing to other drugs, because it is a known fact that when one drug is not around, not accessible, that you will go seek something else to get high. And there are many people who left marijuana and advanced to other drugs because marijuana wasn't readily accessible. Then they end up becoming a full-fledged addict on the new drug. And then naturally, when you start getting high on a narcotic, you advance to crime to support your habit. So are we talking about some young punks that were meth heads back then? And you don't hear too many people killing people in this fashion by being an alcoholic. They may have a temper, alcoholic, but nothing to the magnitude of this. Aiding somebody to set up somebody to kill them and then dump their body. It's a very wicked story. And sadly, Miss Irion paid the piper on that fateful morning. Was her door unlocked? Was she not paying attention to her surroundings when she got out of her car to go into the store and when she walked out of the store purchasing her drink? Sitting on her phone in her car on social media, was she not periodically looking up out of the windows to see who was walking and coming around the car, walking in the parking lot? Why not? You see, you have to pay attention everywhere. Where you go, where you live, where you work, functions, parties, driving on the highway, being out at night, going and coming. You have to be careful what you tell people. You have to be careful what you post to social media. Because there are people out who do just that. They stalk people, be it social media or be it out here in the street. They are looking for a victim. And I do believe Mr. Driver was looking for a victim. And perhaps he had been looking for some time and fancied Miss Irion, unfortunately. Because for someone to pace back and forth outside of a car, it leads me to believe he had been watching her. And you have to believe that he had been watching her only because how did he get to the Walmart parking lot? And where was his car in proximity to taking her car and parking it at the paint store? See, that's a lot of pre-planning, not spur of the moment. Because naturally, if a man has a job, he's going to want to get to his job on time. And also that man said that in commentary, he always showed up to work early. So that means he was diligent about keeping a job. Stay woke. So once again, how did he get to the Walmart? Because he had to have left the Walmart in her car and take her way out over an hour or so to the drop-off place. And then he took that car, after discarding her body, back to be parked, which was not too far, I believe, from the Walmart. So that means his car had to have been parked nearby both locations, Walmart and where he discarded Miss Irion's car. Hey, Pretty Kate, thank you for joining me. This is a sick story. Now, as Crime was saying earlier, that maybe he didn't mind walking a mile or two. But I told her, after doing all what he's done, because they saying at least a 10-hour window went by after the abduction to when he returned the car. You're going to be tired after all of this. Lying in wait, abducting the person, driving them down the highway, sexually assaulting them, killing them, then finding a place to bury them, drop them off, then making it back to drop off the car at some point. The sick part of the story is if this is a 10-hour window from the actual abduction, where did he go after dumping the body? Because he had access to her car. Was he brazen enough to take that car to his house? Bingo card. See, you have to think about everything that's been told to you. In a 10-hour window, that's a long time. That's a whole day's worth of work. Where did he go after discarding the body? In Miss Irion's car. Where did he take the car? Did he take it directly to the drop-off spot, which I don't think he did because they said it was 10 hours when he finally showed up parking the car. So are we saying that this fool took her car to his house? Because I believe that's what's said. The 10 hours later, her car is parked at the said location. So where was the car in between those hours of kidnapping and being parked at the store? Where was his car parked? Adrenaline had to be high. Mad high. And if he lived with someone, how could he explain pulling up in the driveway in somebody else's car? Stay woke. So where was her car in that 10-hour window? Is there somebody else that has knowledge of this crime? And who might they be? Are there other participants and people with knowledge, guilty knowledge of Mr. Troy Driver and his deviant secrets? This is a very baffling story with a terrible, terrible ending. To be that young and snuffed out is sickening. No different than if it was a younger child, because your life has been stolen. A very sick situation. My advice to many of you, especially women, because mostly women watch this network, is to be vigilant in your comings and goings, and to be leery of meeting people at their place, your place, destitute places. Please purchase you AAA, and do not get out of your car at night fumbling around for any reason, especially with your car. Call the tow driver and have them come pick you up. Do not get out of your car to talk to anybody. Do not roll your window down to talk to anybody. If indeed somebody starts banging on your car window and your door is locked, turn your ignition on and gun it and drag their ass standing there if they decide they want to bust the window out. Make them earn scraped knee and face. Wouldn't matter to me at all. Do not talk to people in the dark for any reason. Do not give a ride to a stranger at night, whether you're in a store, coming out of a store. Do not converse at night with people. Do not follow anyone anywhere at night. Around the corner. Somebody needs jumper cables and you have them. Pass. Sorry, gotta go. Keep it moving. I always tell women to act like your ass is on fire at nighttime. Move with urgency. Same thing with pulling up to your home, apartment. Have everything gathered on your arm when you get out of the car. Especially you have a long way to walk, such as if you're in a parking lot and it's a little ways from the front door. Because fumbling around looking for stuff, doors opening, closing, trunks, all that, it's taking up your time. I'm OCD, I do crazy stuff, and I always tell myself, you have to stop doing this stuff because you don't know who could be lying in wait and watching. You have to be very careful of the things you do. And as I said, coming out of the door, morning, noon, or night, always look out of the peephole. It's easy to just run out the door because most people are in a hurry. So they don't look out the peephole. They don't look out the window of the house. You might want to start doing that. You hear strange noises outside the door, window. Look out. It's your house. You have every right to check. Look out first. Anything strange, such as hearing someone messing with the lock, door handle, call 911. Or if you want to be like Angela, you could just say, get the F away from my door. Hey, you do what you got to do. And if you can deepen your voice, that can work too. You have to be vigilant because there are sick people out here. And everybody is not your friend. Yes, I always tell the ladies, have your keys ready inside of the store. Same thing, the mall. In the entryway of the mall, before exiting the door, have your keys already out. Do not wait to get to the car to look for keys. Ever. Because you will not have time if someone approaches you to get in the car. And I don't recommend heavy shopping at dark. Save all that store hopping during the day. Early evening. Because your defenses are down when you are shopping from store to store. Your mind is befuddled with this and that, and you won't be functioning properly. And the perpetrator knows that. And if you live close to the areas you're shopping, take some of those parcels home and then go back out. Because you're also a robber's dream if you're going from store to store and putting things in the car or the trunk and then going back into the mall. Remember, they also lie in the way inside of cars, vans, in parking lots, looking for a victim. Do not be a victim if you can prevent it. And then there's the ultimate, social media. Be careful what you post on the lie book, TikTok, date sites, salt site. Do not put anything with landmarks in your pictures. Do not put where you actually live on your Facebook profile, date site profile. You do not have to tell people you live in the Bronx or Queens, New York. Lie. So you understand what I'm saying? Lie. Because let me tell you something about the lie book. You are a walking target. As soon as you put up your government name, where you live, where you work. You think everybody is your friend. Oh, they know me, he knows me, she knows me, everybody knows me. Well, if everybody knows you, then it won't be a problem using some goofy name for your Facebook profile. Just keep it at 100. Everybody knows you, then word of mouth will get out. Oh, that's, that's Cookie Johnson. She just going by another name, if you get my drift. Because if the day comes, somebody wants to rob you because of what you've posted to social media, your pretty furnishings, whatever, I've posted some things on my little post here recently just to show you little things I changed around the home. But the difference is most people don't know where I live. So that's why I didn't mind doing that. But when people know exactly where you live, then that's a problem. So that's why I say you have to be careful what you post. Because when people know you and you're well known in an area, whether it's a big city, a small town, people talk. Yeah, pretty K. I understand what you're saying. Yes, because I was invited to one of those too. Decor Facebook groups where you just show things you've done in your home, apartment, whatever. Yeah, they're harmless unless people know where you stay. And naturally, if you live in a small town, people are going to know where you stay because people talk in a small town and they see you, neighbors see you, people talk. So you don't even have to be friends with anybody for everybody to know where the hell you stay. And that's the thing I hate about living in small towns. When people know where you stay. They don't even have to be friends with you, but people know of you. And they know, oh, yeah, he lives over there. Oh, yeah, she lives over there. It's a very dangerous thing. And that is the thing that people take for granted living in small towns. It's the knowing of stuff. You have to be very careful. But I do not recommend posting your job, at least. Let's say you want to tell people you live in Nashville, Tennessee. Do not put your job location up there. Because you see, once you tell somebody where you work, you are ripe for the taking. Because your job will lead me to find you where you sleep. Stay woke. Let's say the sadist is going through Facebook, looking at pretty women, and he stumbles across your Facebook profile. And God forbid you have an open profile. Let's talk about that too. You should keep your profile closed. Some of you are very friendly. You want everybody to know you, friend you, know every damn thing about you. That's your business. But know that it can come with a cost. He's strolling through Facebook and sees your pretty picture. Goes in, sees everybody you're related to, because on that damn thing it'll show who you're related to, family members, where you work, where you live, occupation, blah, blah, blah. And God forbid you have filled in the blanks on every damn question. So now I want to see what you look like up close. So he now goes to your job, because perhaps in some of your lives or Facebook posts, you've posted stuff such as, whoo, this 8 o'clock haul is killing me. Whoo, I can't wait to get off at 4 o'clock, 4:30. You see where I'm going? So now the sadist knows what city you live in. He knows your job. He knows you have to be to work at 8 a.m. and he knows you clock out at 4. Now, I want to see how pretty you are. See, that's the thing about a sadist for those that don't watch true crime. You can only look through the glass so long. You want to touch the mannequin. Stay woke. So now I'm driving to your job to go see what I've been admiring on social media. Only so many places you can park your car. Some facilities have its own private parking lot. Now, if it's the government, you won't probably get in to park because they might have a locked garage. You have to go through, show ID, a badge, which will be good if somebody's trying to find you. But most people don't work for the government, so they might do off-street parking or a parking garage. So let's say it's somewhere where they have access to watch you and park. It would not take long to get a glimpse of you coming out of your job. Now, let's say I have access to park and watch you come out, go in, and wait for you to get off work so I can follow you, hopefully home. Maybe you don't go straight home. Maybe you go to the gym, to the grocery store, pick up a child, whatsoever. But I've got all the time in the world because I like what I see. I like what I see. So I have all the time in the world to watch. So God forbid you're a busy bee and you like going from department store, Ross, daycares, wherever you go after you get off from work. And the sadist is following you around and you're not even paying attention that a car has been following you from place to place. Because you're in a hurry. You got to get here, go over here, do this, do that. You ain't thinking about somebody following you. You're on your phone, you're doing this, you're messing with the radio, your Bluetooth. You see where I'm going. Now you finally decide to go home. And the sadist is still following you because that was the ultimate goal, was to follow you home in the first place. And now he knows where you live. Now he has to watch to see who comes and goes out of the house, apartment, condo. Because you see, when you sit on social media, you will probably tell people things about kids, grandmama, uncles, who's coming to town, leaving, where the children are going, blah, blah, blah. If you're single, ain't doing nothing, no plans, ain't dating, because we as women like to talk. So imagine the sadist has been watching you on Facebook. You're talking, posting things. He has access to the page, so he can read all your posts. He knows who your friends are. If you leave that open as well, you are accessible. I now know where you work. All of that. And I do hope somebody's listening to this. A woman is listening. Because I mean every word that I'm saying to you this evening. After all of this surveying and lying outside your home, watching you, you know the next thing is, I'm going to want to touch you. I didn't come this far to just keep sitting outside your house, sitting outside your job. I'm going to want to touch you. And this is where the scary part comes. The perpetrator will now have to devise a plan of how he is going to get next to you. So this is what I'm saying to you. Don't let that happen if you can prevent it. Because these perpetrators are brazen today. They will lie in wait and they will go to the door, pretend to be somebody else, maybe ask some neighbors questions about you, maybe perhaps knock on the door, perhaps go look through a window, glass door, whichsoever, to get access to you, to watch you. Because you see, each perpetrator is different. Each perpetrator is different. See, one may not risk going up to the door, window, looking through windows. One may just wait to catch you coming out the door in the morning, catch you going in the door, or wait for you at the job, depending on where it is, time of day that you're coming and going. See, each perpetrator is different. And that's one thing you have to remember about a perpetrator. He is not the same as another one. Each one may not be as risque as the other one. But what you want to do is not give either or the opportunity to get a hold of you. And the object of the abduction is to get you into a car, if indeed you are approached outside. And authorities will tell you to never, ever get into a car with your abductor. You tell that motherfucker to shoot you on the spot. Excuse my language. Hell no, I ain't getting in your car. You tell him, you will have to shoot me right here. Because once you are in the car, there is no bet that you are coming out of there alive. Because you don't know the perpetrator. You may get the perpetrator that just wants to play funny games with you for a couple of hours and set you free. But then the other perpetrator will play funny games with you and then kill you afterwards. Why risk finding out? And yes, they say it's easier to say what you would not do. But it's been said, all bets are off once you're in the car. So you don't want to find out how far the game is going to go. But then you could be snatched and you had no choice but to go. Somebody just came and swooped you up, picked you up. You couldn't fight them off. And that would be the unfortunate way of getting inside of a car or vehicle. You're just drugged into a van or so. And God forbid, they have help. We had an incident here in Knoxville a few years ago at a shopping center in West Knoxville off of Kingston Pike. It's a very well-known shopping area where it has TJ Maxx, Sally's, Beauty Supply. In front of it sits Old Charlie's restaurant. An array of stores there. I think there's a Home Goods in the shopping center. To make the long story short, two men were working together in a van. And they decided on this afternoon, yes, broad daylight, to try to abduct a Caucasian female. And luckily for her, wasn't nobody going to let it go down. People came to the rescue. So she was one of the lucky ones. But you see, some women are not fortunate to have someone come to the rescue in broad daylight. She was lucky because many years ago, there was a rapist running around Florida, and he liked daytime hours. He worked malls, strip malls, and he was good at what he was doing because he would work during daylight savings time. And that's the thing that shocked law enforcement and the general public, that he was bold enough to approach the women during the day and bold enough to even rape them on sight inside their vehicle. He didn't care. Also raping pregnant women. Very brazen, sick creature. You see, as I just said, each perpetrator is different. He was a serial rapist who left his victims alive. But once a rapist has been brought in for questioning, and perhaps he is let go because they don't have any evidence against him to arrest him, the next time he goes out, he is not going to leave the next woman breathing. And that's when rapists become murderers. And I'm sure many of you have heard that before. I've got an appetite. It's insatiable. I can't stop myself. So I ain't going to let nobody else go call 911 or file a complaint. And possibly I get questioned and or arrested. When I heard of the story of Miss Irion recently, it just bothered me to my core because I was once 18 years old and I've gone places by myself, traveled up and down the highway by myself, going to college, driving my car up and down the highway by myself, been stranded on the highway, going back to school by myself. So I've been 18, 19. And that's the thing about being a woman. You can get gone any time of the day. Doesn't have to be a specific time that a perpetrator will attempt to harm you. And you can get hurt at 18, you can get hurt at 50, you can get hurt at 60. Doesn't matter. If it's your day that somebody wants to try you, you have there's nothing you can do about it. You have to pray that you will be able to survive. Well, why these people keep coming in this chat? Excuse this. I don't know what's going on with these people coming in here. Anyway, I say this to you ladies, to be aware of your surroundings, because I don't want anything to happen to you. I don't want anything to happen to a male either, because there are men who also get accosted, robbed, hurt, harmed, also sexually assaulted as well. Children as well. Just be aware of your surroundings. Give social media a break, because a lot of things have happened to people just from them talking on their phones, walking during daylight hours. You're not paying attention to things that you need to be aware of. Walking around with headsets, earpieces. You need to be able to hear and see when you're out, walking around, sitting out, driving, running. It's all the same. You need to be coherent. Your eyes need to be focused. Your ears need to be free of devices, earplugs and such, because somebody might be yelling, "Hey, look out, watch out." You don't hear anything. Could be a dog chasing you and you don't even know it. You're running on a trail or a track. You see, you want to be aware of your surroundings because anything is possible. And you do not want to be a victim, an unwilling victim. And I see the brazenness of these creatures. They are now so bold, they will take you during daylight hours, hurt you during daylight hours. A few years ago, we had a woman walking on a trail, an open trail, and just brutally stabbed for no damn reason. minding her business. See, that's scary to me. Somebody's out walking for their health, not bothering anyone, saying anything out of the way, and the guy just walks up and stabs her to death. And I do believe later we found out he had mental problems, but it doesn't matter. It's principle. She's minding her business. You have to be aware. And I'm going to be truthful. The walking trails and things that has a lot of overbrush on the trails, I don't recommend walking on those. You want to walk in the park where there is a view of the trees to the street where you can be seen and you can see out. When you go on a walking trail that winds around and there's high overbrush, if you're the only one on the trail a little ways up, can't nobody get to you in time if something happens to you and somebody jumps out and drag your butt in the bushes. They cover your mouth. Nobody's going to even hear you. They could be walking right by you, running by you, cycling by you. Who's going to know you're over there in the bushes if your mouth is covered, or as someone in the chat said, you've been knocked out? So don't go on the trails with the high brush. Walk in a park where it's benches, garbage cans, pergolas, things like that where you can be seen. Because most people won't risk doing anything with a lot of people in an open park. And I don't recommend walking at night. A lot of us like fresh air. It's getting dark. You say, oh, the air feels good. I want to get out, get some fresh air. Come on, I'm going to take me a nice walk my dog, whatever. You still need to be very careful. Because once you're out of sight, you can't assume somebody is going to see or hear you. I don't care if it's in the neighborhood. It's still dark outside. People are in their house with their music on, TVs on. They might hear you scream, but they might be the type they don't get up to care. Hey, Gulf Coast, thank you. T wasn't here. She's probably put her kids to bed right now. I just want you all to be safe because this story of Miss Irion has really bothered me, and I just have not been the same since hearing of her being kidnapped and now her body being discovered and now an arrest. I just haven't been the same. And as me and another creator was saying earlier, we have all been in a situation to where we could have not come back. That's okay, T. We could be in that situation. And I think most of us can say that. We have met people who probably were not decent acting people and were alone with them in their company. And by the grace of God, they didn't do anything to us. Maybe they even attempted, made sly remarks, but you were able to get yourself out of that situation somehow, or they just didn't take advantage of you. You don't know people. And I don't trust anybody. I don't trust the neighbors. I don't trust maintenance workers. I don't trust the bug man. I don't trust no damn body. Because I don't know you. My mama didn't give birth to you. You ain't my daddy. I don't know you. And that's the world we live in. You can't trust people. And it's even dangerous if you let somebody in that's coming to do work for you. We could talk about that briefly. Maintenance man, plumber, cable guy, somebody's coming to fix the Wi-Fi. Once they know there's nobody in there with you, who's going to tell it? You're in the house. God forbid you're working on a computer, you're doing something, or you're fumbling with something. You go in another room. They're under the sink doing something. He could easily creep his ass back out of there and beat the brakes off of you. Strangle you. Knock you out. And God forbid you don't have no surveillance in your house. All you got is what? The doorbell camera. Well, that won't mean nothing if after he's done whatever he's done to you, he takes your damn phone. So then there has to be a tracking system with that company, because I don't know how that goes because I don't have that. But you understand what I'm saying? These people are sick out here. You don't know people. And I hate to have to bring this message to you, but the topic is of Mr. Driver. Who is he? Has he committed other crimes besides the one he went to prison for? Has he committed crimes since getting out of prison? Did he know Miss Irion? Did they ever have a conversation just in passing? And why did he choose her? And how long had he watched her? Because I do believe this is an orchestrated crime. Because him pacing outside of the car shows he was excited. He was antsy. And it almost makes you think that he knew her, even though Mr. Enton says that they don't have any information that they knew each other. But there's something off about someone pacing outside of your car but don't know you. And that leads me to believe he had been watching her. Just please take care of yourself and watch your children, because you know they are targets as well. And the elderly, they are targets as well. Many elderly people are ripe for the taking. Phone scams, opening the door to strangers, people following them to their car to act like they're trying to help them. It's all the same. It's a very sad story. And I feel bad for her family, because I'm sure they never thought in a million years they would be on the news discussing their child, their sister. And she was robbed of her life for nothing. Nothing she could have done so terrible warrant what he did to her. And to know that he shot her more than once. Why? You've already assaulted the lady. Why you got to kill her? And then you bury her? That's strange to me. Because as I've told you, most killers who don't know the victim rarely bury the victim. Usually people who know you bury you, because they know they can be linked to you. So they bury you. So this is very strange, a stranger burying a stranger. But he's done this before. So that came back to him in this orchestrated crime, I do believe, to accost Miss Irion. You're welcome, dear, anytime. Prayers for the family. Prayers for the victims of who have been assaulted and they have survived. Prayers for those who have been kidnapped and they survived. By the grace of God, they were able to get out of their situation. But I do not want anyone else to become a victim such as Miss Naomi. That is why I'm saying the things I'm saying to you during this live, is that you have to be aware of your surroundings. I am like a dog, literally. My ears are better than my eyes. Okay? I know when you come in. I know when you're coming home. I know when you're going anything. I know. I can hear anything. I know if you're at the window, you're outside the door. That's how good my hearing is. Just like a dog. And I thank God for the hearing, because it just may preserve my life. Because see, I've talked to many people, men and women, And the one thing I hear from people is, oh, I didn't notice that. I didn't pay attention to that. Well, you better start paying attention. You better start watching a whole lot of stuff. You better start looking at your car every day you get in and out of it. You better watch the tire pressure on your car. Check the gas gauge, all that kind of stuff. The outside where you put the gas, you need to pay attention to all of that. Make sure nobody's been fumbling with it. Nobody's been trying to get in your car. Because you see, think about this for a second. With the time of morning she got in her car, he could have easily, she was the type to not lock her door because they lived in a place that's rural. She thought it was safe. Just crawl his ass in the car and lay in the back seat. So you got to think about stuff like that. Now, he seemed to be a bigger guy, just from what I was seeing in the video. I could be wrong. And her car didn't seem like a very, maybe big car to back seat, but you understand what I'm saying. You have sick people who will crawl in your car and lie in the back seat of your car. Kind of like in the scary movies. Wrong Turn. Was it not Wrong Turn, but it might have been Wrong Turn. I can't remember which movie it was. It's an older movie from the 90s. But the guy was in the back of the truck. Yeah, they'll do that too. Side of the car, underneath the car. That's why you don't fumble with keys and stuff. Because it's just like in the scary movies where they cut your ankles and stuff. Well, if I'm crafty enough and I want to do that, then I will. If I want to break in your car and lie in your car, pick your lock, lie in your car, I will. If I want to park by your car and jump out, I will. If I want to pretend I'm stranded, cut your tire on purpose so you can sit there and be looking at your tire like, oh my God, I got a flat tire. And then voila, here comes Prince Charming. What's happened? What's wrong, ma'am? Oh, I don't know. I got a flat tire. And you're sitting there talking to the same person that cut the damn tire. Yes, Gulf Coast. Exactly. Stop believing everyone is good. Exactly. Years ago, they used to do the hit and bump. Drive up behind you, bump your car. You get out to see what happened. They get out, and then they rob you. Well, guess what? It could be robbery / kidnapping. You have to be aware. You cannot be goofing off on your cell phone, talking on your phone in public. I do not recommend ever walking and talking on your cell phone. Sorry, but I don't. And I keep mine in the purse. I don't walk and talk on the phone when I'm in public. Frankly, I don't want to be bothered with the phone. So it's in my purse while I'm out shopping. I don't like pulling out the phone to push the buggy through the grocery store. What's the point? I'm there to grocery shop, not there to talk on the phone. I ain't trying to check messages, see what the hell somebody did on YouTube, see where I'm going. You got to know your place. There's a time and a place for everything. And talking on that phone, walking around, is not a good idea. I also don't recommend sitting in your car too long in a public place. Because let me tell you something about that. As I said, the sadists, it's all kinds. If you sit in your car too long, let's say you're in a parking lot of a store, shopping mall. People are weary looking at you sitting in your car wondering what the hell you're doing. Do you understand what I'm saying? You've been in your car too long. Maybe they came, went out, did something risky, you sit in your car. Because, you got women who are also sadists and will rob you too. So you're a woman sitting in your car. Well, you can look suspicious just you keep sitting in your car. You might be talking on your phone. You might be taking notes, doing something. Okay, Al, thank you. You know, you have to be aware. You have to be aware. Because sitting in your car, you sit too long. If someone was out looking for a victim, they're watching you sit in your car. You know, no matter whatever you're doing in your car. You just have to be careful. And they tell you to change your habits. Don't take the same route every day. Which I know some people that be like, hey, I don't got time for that. And I get that. Because sometimes you can't take a different route. It might take you out of the way. But try it if it's feasible. To not take the same route every time you go to work or to play, to do your nails, whatever it is that you do. Take a different route. Just know that there's always people watching. And I know that people watch because I've had people that really don't know me well. When they were being nosy, mention my comings and my goings. And this is how I know people watch. And it could be women making the commentary, but it proves the point that you're in my damn business. If you know a watch, so you think, you worrying about who's coming in out of my door, you questioning me about my company, you're already suspect to me. I don't care if you're a woman. Don't watch me. Don't ask me nothing about who came in my house, whose car parked outside. Why? It's none of your business. You see, this is why I keep trying to tell you people talk. And when you decide to answer a personal question, which is nobody's damn business, you're giving somebody information about you. Because you see, this is one thing I've learned about a question. When a stranger asks you a question, even if it's a woman, that's going to lead to another question. Stay woke now. Oh, who is that? And you stupidly answer. Then they're going to ask you another question. And if you were the type free to talk, you would have been told stuff you had no business telling a stranger who had no business asking you a damn question in the first place. So you have to be very careful in what you tell people. Just like somebody called me by my name today, and maybe I forgot I told her my name, and it kind of struck me because I don't talk to this person. But I also know they're nosy. Do you see where I'm going with this? You have to be very careful of people. I don't trust nothing. I don't give a damn if you're a woman. You could be old. You're 70 years old. I still don't trust you. I don't. I just don't. Because I know people, and I've seen the worst of people. Hey, I learned that the other day. How crooked a motherfucker can be. So I don't trust nobody. Everybody's not your friend. Whether it's in passing, people you meet at the store, people that work at the store where you go shop, that don't mean nothing. Because you don't know what people tell other people about you. You come in the store, buy this, buy that. You don't know what they go back and tell other people. Yeah, she comes in here every Tuesday and Wednesday. Oh, yeah, they come in here once a week and buy this and buy this. And then one day you're somewhere talking to a random stranger. And next thing you know, they might say something to you out of the blue about where you last shopped. And you're sitting there looking at them like, what the hell are you talking about? How you know I went over there? Oh, you know I know Susie, and she tells me you come in there all the time, and you're always buying that cappuccino and da-da-da-da-da and a muffin, and you're sitting there looking like, what the hell? Yeah. It happens every day. People watching you, people gossiping. You think a man won't use another woman to get to another woman? They will. Because see, guys know that we like to talk. So a sadist knows if he wants to get some information, who does he go to? Another woman. Hey, what you know about her? How you know her? Oh, I know her from such and such, and we go to the gym and I meet her and da 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 da, and he sees that you like to talk. Oh yeah, he gonna keep asking you questions. The walkie-talkie. Well, where you know her from? How long you known her? And she just divulging all this personal information about you. You see, a person can get stuff about you and not ever follow you around. They don't even have to stalk you because people like to talk. And that's all a sadist needs is the opportunity, the window of opportunity. And if he or she finds a walkie-talkie, then they've got gold. Because let me tell you something about your so-called neighbors. They'll get you killed too. Because they don't know when to shut up. You know, a lot of people say here in the South, well, they don't mean no harm. They just being friendly. You could be friendly to where you're a detriment. Because you could talk and tell the wrong thing to the wrong person. And a lot of people have gotten hurt because of what somebody told somebody else of their whereabouts. That's why it has been said why jobs don't answer personal questions when people call. Yes, I'm looking for Bob Johnson. Does he work here? No, I'm sorry, we don't have a Bob Johnson. Or they say, sorry, we can't give out any personal information. Hell no, you can't. Because it's just like what I said. A sadist, sicko, wacko needs verification. And that's what they'll do. They'll keep trying till they get what they want. And all they need is that window of opportunity to find a willing participant, someone who can divulge information, give out information to get what they want. So be careful even in talking to people, because maybe you think you're just having a friendly conversation with somebody and they might be asking you things about somebody else, or they could be asking things about you and you don't really even think that they're trying to, do any harm to somebody else or even to yourself. But you have to be very careful in answering questions. And I tell women that too, even with the date site situation. You don't tell anybody your exact location where you live. Let's say you exchange numbers and the person says, well, what side of town do you live on? You might want to give that side of town, but you don't say where. Don't give a street. Don't even give a landmark. Because you know you can be found if you gave a landmark. And some men will say, well, what's the problem? You can't tell me where you live? Hell no, I can't tell you where I live. For what? You don't even know my full name. What you need to know where I live for? You have to think like a crazy person. A man first meeting a woman in a conversation has no business knowing the address. Because let me tell you something about giving out the address. Imagine you foolishly give the address out. First conversation. I mean, just a few minutes, 10 minutes of talking. And then somewhere in the conversation, you realize, shoot, I'm not interested in this joker. You've already given out your location. Now what are you going to do? You can't take it back. That's why you need to talk to people a while before giving out any personal information. Where you work, your job, all that stuff, where you live. Because as I said, in the meet and greet game, talking to somebody on the phone, you start talking too fast, telling them where you live, and then next thing you know, midway through the conversation, it might be 20, 30 minutes into the conversation, they may say something you don't like or start talking crazy or ignorant. You've already slipped up and told the person where you work, what you do, and where you live. Because let's say you just go ahead foolishly, as I said, and just tell somebody where you stay. Because they sound nice. Yeah, I'll go ahead and tell them where I live. It's no big deal. And then, as I said, 20 minutes into the conversation, you realize, oops, I made a mistake. Now they know where you stay. And now you're not attracted to them. You ain't interested. Well, they know where you live now. And maybe one day they decide they want to drive by your house. See what you got going on. You don't know people. And that goes for meeting and greeting, inviting people to your house, home. You go into theirs. You do have to be very careful. Inviting strangers to your house. It's all the same. Smiling faces. Turn once the door shuts. And my aunt said this to me many years ago. And I told this girl this the other day when I was out. When I went to get my phone checked. And we were talking about Miss Irion and her story. I told her something my aunt told me. My aunt said many years ago, you might meet a guy you like, and you might want to have a little fun and invite him over. And there might be an understanding before he comes. Okay? Then it may not even be an understanding. You may not even talk about doing anything. Might be just you say, yeah, sure, you can come over. The point is, whether you have an understanding to do something, intimate or not, or just invite the guy over, then once the door closes, who's to say he will play fair? I will never forget those words that my aunt told me many years ago. That when the door closes, who's to say he will play fair? I thank you for joining me. I thank you for listening, following the content. Thank you, mods. Thank you, Gulf Coast, for visiting. Thank you all so much. Prayers for Miss Irion's family. Prayers for all the women out here. Prayers for those who have not been fortunate to survive being abducted and harmed. And prayers for all of you. Please be aware of your surroundings. Please do not sit in your cars with your doors unlocked. Please be careful what you post on social media. Please be careful the information you give to new people over the phone, people in public. Please make sure you keep all your doors to your house locked, your windows locked. Put a stick in the window, booby trap in the window. It doesn't matter. Just be aware. If you can afford an alarm system on your home, apartment, cameras inside, please do that. The doorbell cameras, alarms on your car, whichsoever, because it may save your life one day. And we have too many terrible stories right now. And as I said, even in a world of meeting and greeting, not stranger danger, so you think. Always know that even if you think you know the person, heard good things about him, he seems nice, he looks nice, sounded nice, that once the door is closed, he may not play fair. This is Everyday Shenanigans. Thank you. You're welcome, sweetie.